Bible prophecy is active and unfolding daily. Zechariah 12, Isaiah 17, Psalm 83, Ezekiel 38. Here is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's newscast. From Haaretz, IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Gadi Eisenkot said last Tuesday on June 19th, quote, "We have an interest that there will be electricity in the Gaza Strip 24 hours a day, that there will be clean water and employment. That is an Israeli interest. But it seems to me like a paradox that we would pay for the electricity while they make resources available to dig tunnels into Israeli territory." Close quote. He also noted, quote, "The current focus on defeating ISIS misses the point. There's an interest to push Iran back to within Iran and reduce its regional influence." Close quote. From the Jerusalem Post, the Defense Ministry is constructing a concrete barrier to run the length of the Gaza border and prevent Hamas from tunneling into Israel. The barrier will include heavy concrete slabs strengthened with iron rods and equipped with sensors that will be inserted dozens of meters underground. Above ground, a 6 to 8 meter wire fence armed with sensors and cameras will be erected. The work will be accelerated this summer. Israel believes there are currently 15 Hamas attack tunnels leading to Israel. Then from memory, in recent statements and speeches, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that is the IRGC, commanders have emphasized that the Islamic Revolution in Iran is only the first stage on the path to the spread of the rule of Shiite Islam in the Middle East and worldwide. They argue that the U.S. opposes Islam, and thus also Iran, the standard bearer of the revolution and its global vision. From Haaretz, Israel and Jordan are concerned about the growing Iranian influence in Syria and Iraq. They're also concerned that Iran will deploy forces from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and Shiite militias, particularly Hezbollah, in the vicinity of Syria's borders with Jordan and Israel. According to press reports, Israel has provided Jordan with intelligence and security assistance in the face of threats by ISIS and rising Iranian hegemony in the region. Now, nearly 2 weeks ago, I put up my 2017 Rapture update, and I was surprised to see the lack of attackers on YouTube. I mean, that kind of thing never happens on my Vimeo channel, but YouTube is quite a different story. And there have been nearly no attacks at all, certainly not compared to what you might call the old days. There was a time where I stopped comments on all my videos for, I don't know, a couple of years, maybe even 3 years. I just shut them off because there were so many attackers and hatred and stuff. Then after a couple of years, 2 or 3, I turned them back on, and I don't know, they've been gone pretty much ever since. However, this video did bring some out of the woodwork. And my friends, our fellowship on my Vimeo channel is a very private place, because no one can comment there unless they're part of our fellowship, signed in, and so on. But YouTube, well, YouTube is more like having a concession in the middle of a very large shopping mall during the Christmas shopping season. Anyone can interrupt and do anything they want, and many do. Once. One thing that's been bugging me are those who call me a hippie and judge my character without watching my videos or getting to know about what I do. They see a guy with long hair and a beard and they just, start throwing stones and rocks because they think it's fun. These people are going to have a real problem when they look into the face of their Savior. Are they going to reject him because he has long hair and a beard? And I wonder, what will they do about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Jeremiah, Ezekiel? What about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Peter, Paul? They all look like hippies to these people. The other thing that's been popping up on YouTube is an attack against me for using Elohim's original Aramaic Hebrew language. I think the Rapture, the 2017 Rapture update video drew in a good number of new people. And I can understand that what I do is odd to someone who's not familiar with such things. And I understand that, most people on earth believe the Bible was written in English. They just, they haven't taken the time to really look. So they see what I'm doing and it looks really weird, I mean, it's not possible to explain all these details every time I make a video. I have spent years building up an understanding, and unfortunately, people ignore past videos and they always jump in on the new ones. And at this point, I guess I can look pretty strange to many. And I apologize to them for that. It's not something I mean to do. It's just something I can't help doing. Now, what I really can't understand is why do these people even comment? I mean, if they watch 10 seconds of one of my videos and then hate me for it, why do they have to tell me about it? I mean, why don't they just go away? I don't like this guy, I'm not going to do this, and then just go away. But I don't know, they actually think I'm going to care about their opinion. They have to voice it. They think everybody, cares about their opinions, and I understand that too. But it's irritating. That's all I wanted to say. Turning to wars and rumors of wars. On Tuesday, June 20th, from the Los Angeles Times, a U.S. F-15 fighter jet shot down an armed Iranian drone supporting Syrian government forces in southern Syria. The drone was approaching a military base at the Syrian town of Tanf that U.S., British, and Norwegian Special Operations Forces use to train and equip rebel groups fighting the Syrian government and ISIS. On June 8th, a U.S. fighter jet shot down another Iranian-made drone that dropped a bomb near forces patrolling the base at Tanf. Then on Saturday, June 24th, from Ynet News, Syrian Islamist rebels near the Israeli-Syrian border launched an offensive on the city of Ba'ath, a town controlled by the Syrian army. The Syrian army, firing at the rebel forces, fired 10 mortar and tank shells that landed in open areas in Israel. There were thousands of Israeli travelers in the Golan Heights when the Syrian mortars were fired, and they could have gotten hurt, which is why the Israeli response was unusually severe. The Syrian opposition says the Israeli attack was carried out by a helicopter and destroyed 2 tanks and a heavy machine gun post in the Quneitra area. Then on Sunday, June 25th, from the Jerusalem Post, the IDF struck targets belonging to forces loyal to Syrian President Bashar Assad's regime in response to the errant fire that hit northern Israel earlier in the day. Sunday was the second day in a row that the Israeli-Syrian border has been affected by a spillover from the ongoing conflict in Syria. Turning to our Intifada update, on Tuesday, June 20th, from Haaretz, a knife-wielding Palestinian from the West Bank charged at IDF soldiers near the village of Aram, north of Jerusalem, before being shot dead. And looking at our review of last week's news, Hamas continues to put pressure on Israel to pay for electricity in Gaza, so that Hamas can spend its money on attack tunnels to do harm to Israelis. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps commanders have emphasized that the Islamic Revolution in Iran is only the first stage on the path to the spread of the rule of Shiite Islam in the Middle East and worldwide. Israel and Jordan are concerned about the growing Iranian influence in Syria and Iraq. A U.S. F-15 fighter jet shot down an armed Iranian drone supporting Syrian government forces in southern Syria. Syrian Islamist rebels near the Israeli-Syrian border launched an offensive on the city of Ba'ath. The IDF struck targets belonging to forces loyal to Syrian President Bashar Assad's regime in response to the errant fire that hit northern Israel earlier in the day. And a knife-wielding Palestinian from the West Bank charged at IDF soldiers near the village of Aram. And that, my friends, is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Abba willing, I'll see you here again next week. Until then, stay safe. Shalom.
Crowded rooms, I need more space than I consume. Enough is time alone with you, underneath a naked moon, sharing confidential moods and making chatter. Mockingbird nocturnal sings notations of eternal things, entering the quantum breeze, flying not for want of wings. He lights his gaze on you and me, simply because we matter.